This is the audio commentary for The Way of the Black Dragon. I'd like to welcome all the viewers and listeners to this audio commentary. I'm George Tan, and I'll be with Grandmaster Ron Van Cleef talking about the film, life, and who knows what else. Grandmaster Van Cleef, again, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, which film was this in the Black Dragon series?
Number 3.
This was the third one. Was Seraphim Karalexis is the producer of all the Black Dragon films. Was he hands-on like he was in Death of Bruce Lee?
No. I didn't see him at all.
So
he never came to the set. He did not go to Thailand with me.
What were you doing at the time that this project came along? Where were you in life? Now,
I was on Broadway in a kung fu show with Duncan Leung,
right?
And it was called Real Kung Fu. It was at the, I sent you the poster too. It was at the Robert F. Kennedy Theater,
right,
on Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the Shaolin shows that they have now.
Okay. Was this the first on Broadway?
That was the first time that had ever been on Broadway.
You know, that martial arts?
Yes, the first time ever.
And was this made after Death of Bruce Lee?
Yes.
Were there any films in between that?
Bamboo Trap and Fight to the Death, and there were like 3 in between.
Okay, so this came later, after Death of Bruce Lee.
Right. 3 films after, actually.
So that's another audio commentary. But so at this point, you're on Broadway.
Yes.
Were you teaching?
I was teaching with Jerome Mackey. I was running 15 schools at that time.
No, what year was this film made?
77.
Oh, so this is really later.
Yeah, 2 years later.
And by now you're getting a lot of play in the magazines. You know, what projects did you have in the pipeline then? And what were you doing? I know you just mentioned Broadway.
I was running 15 schools for a company called Self-Defense Industries.
Right.
And Jerome Mackey had just sold those schools. Mm-hmm. And I helped them start a complete new franchising system, and we opened 300 schools nationally.
And you were directly involved?
And I was directly involved with the franchising of the schools.
Actually, was there ever a time when you weren't teaching?
No.
I mean, that seems to be like a constant thread in your life.
I can't stop teaching.
What rank were you at that point? 1977.
10th Dan.
So you had reached 10th.
I had reached 10th Dan in 1975.
And was this through
Sensei Urban?
Sensei Urban, Peter Urban had granted you,
yes,
given you the 10th degree. And how many students would you say you had trained by then? This is 1977. Guesstimate.
100,000.
You'd gone through 100,000 students.
Yeah, I had over 50,000 at Jerome Mackey's.
Wow, so you've got literally hundreds of thousands of students out there.
Taught over 200,000 students already.
In your lifetime.
Yeah.
So 1977.
And promoted at least 600 black belts.
So out of all those hundreds of thousands, how many made black belt on the?
About 600.
That's not a high number.
That's not a high number out of the amount of people that studied.
You know, percentage-wise. So it shows.
It's like a 2%.
So, I mean, you've got strict guidelines. You just don't give them out the way they do today.
Right.
You know, a 6-year-old getting a black belt type.
No such thing.
Situation, right? You know, what do you say you enjoy more, teaching or making movies?
Teaching.
The teaching is really
movies are not gratifying.
Why?
1, they're very short-lived, and 2, it's all fake.
At the end of the day, it's fantasy.
At the end of the day, it's just a fantasy. It's like mental masturbation, and it doesn't really do anything for you. It puts a paycheck in your pocket. But in the reality is, people think that this stuff is real, but they see that people can actually do that stuff. And that's the only thing I find wrong with it.
Have you had people come up to you in the course of your life and say to you, you might not remember me, but I trained with you here and at so-and-so, and you changed my life? Or...
I've had that happen hundreds of times. I was just with a kid yesterday who I hadn't seen in about 10 years. He studied with me when he was 11 years old.
Right.
He studied for 5 years. He was 11. I ran into him yesterday. He's the director of the Boys Club on the Lower East Side.
Uh-huh.
Look how far this kid came.
And what about people who, have you had people approach you and say, I grew up watching your movies and my life changed?
Yes.
You know, so really both ends of the spectrum
Yes.
you've affected people's, lives.
Surprisingly.
Yeah. But overall,
It's surprising when people even come up and remember me from movies.
look, man, I walked with you.
Yesterday, a guy said to me, "Damn, you're Ron Van Cleef, right?" I said, "Yeah." I didn't know what to say.
Last time I checked.
Yeah.
You remember we were walking one time, the woman at the supermarket?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I haven't seen her. I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing how many people know you, actually.
I'm surprised too.
Right?
You know,
look, tell me people.
Look, when we went to see the Tony Jaa thing,
Man,
Warrington recognized me out of all the people that were there. It was weird.
Again, when you went over there, they just all started talking.
Mm-hmm.
There was like, hey, I think that's Ron Van Cleef. Yeah, that dude, that built dude, that old built dude over there.
Oh.
Right? And it's like, they used to call him the Black Dragon. But my favorite, though, is the one guy's like, he said it with such authority, he goes, they actually lynched him and he lived. Now, I don't know where that one came from. Right?
He read it in my book, Black Heroes of the Martial Arts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, did you get lynched and live?
Yes.
No, come on.
Yeah.
What's the story
I
there?
was lynched in 1963
Right.
by the Ku Klux Klan, and they left me for dead. And I was
So
in
it
the
is a
hospital.
true story.
I was in the hospital 5 months. They
Oh,
broke my jaw. They knocked out 3 of my front teeth.
Right. Oh, my.
Yeah.
I thought that was like this dude was just, creating fantasy. So this really happened.
It really happened.
Oh, so he read this guy actually read your book then. But people, quite a few people, and it kind of spread. And finally, they saw me communicating with you and said, excuse me, is that Ron Van Cleef? I was like, yeah, and then they passed it down the line. Yeah, that's him.
Oh, wow.
And they started pointing the camera in your direction.
Isn't that weird?
So, these movies do have an effect.
I'm surprised when anyone recognizes me from something I did 30 years ago.
And was it before or after this film that you approached to do Black Samurai? Most people don't realize that the movie with Jim Kelly.
Before this film, Larry Joachim, the fellow that remade the Green Hornet series for television.
Yeah, patched them together.
Yeah, his son actually did it,
Mhm.
did the editing job. You knew that, right?
All I know is that Ray Wells, remember dear Ray Wells,
Yeah,
went to his grave saying that Joachim cheated him.
Out of thousands and thousands and
Yeah,
thousands.
yeah.
I mean,
You know,
Joachim cheated me too, but that does happen.
and
That was part of his gig. Barbara, remember Barbara?
his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He bought a piece of real estate in Beverly Hills,
I know.
and that God knows what that's worth now.
Mhm.
8 figures.
Yeah, he finally sold this place over on Central Park.
The
there.
Brownstone.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I don't know how many millions he got for that by now. I mean,
Yeah,
that
he used
must have
to
been worth
work out of that. Remember they had the office there.
That's where I signed the contract for Black Samurai.
So what happened?
I used to hang out with Ray Wells.
Remember Ray?
Yeah, I liked him. I thought he was a very good writer.
Ray Wells was one of the.
No. He was a fixer.
He knew how to combine art with business very well.
Yes.
Larry was more commerce. His creativity was about nil.
Mhm.
He knew a good deal though.
Yeah, yeah.
And on that Green Hornet thing, Ray told me he originally suggested it to Larry, and Larry went and knew someone at one of the heads of Fox, and he said they sat down.
I know the story.
And the guy at Fox said they watched an episode apparently, and the guy at Fox was like, "Well, which one was Bruce Lee?" It's just pathetic.
I know.
They didn't know what. So Larry wound up
He
paying
got it for almost nothing.
$5,000 for the
I know.
States,
I know.
10,000 for the world.
Mhm.
So Ray said came home with the contract for $5,000. He goes, "You putz, go get the rest of the world." And Larry was crying, "It's $5,000." He goes, "Go get it." He went and got it, and
They made out from that, though. They made out big time.
he must have made millions. It was prime,
Yeah.
prime time. Did Ray have anything to do with the Black Samurai?
He wrote it.
Oh, so Ray. Oh, really?
Ray wrote the screenplay from what's his name's book.
Yeah, I don't know. I know who you're talking
What
about.
was
The
the guy's
author.
name?
It was a book series, actually.
Yeah.
Back at the height.
I met the author.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it was back at the height of.
Nice guy, very nice guy, but he was very upset because of the deal that he made with Joachim.
Isn't that normal?
You know, he said, I'll never deal with those people again. They really screwed me.
Oh, so
you know.
Ray did the script.
Yeah, Ray did the script.
Now,
I helped him write the script.
I mean, you were well in with doing this movie. I mean, there's artwork. If people check the extra features on these.
Oh, they did a
DVDs.
full page in Variety and Hollywood Reporter and all that stuff.
I mean, this was ready to go with Ron Van Cleef.
Ready to go.
And what happened?
Larry decided to change the deal. He said to me a week before I was to leave,
Right.
we can only pay you $5,000 to do this film.
What was the deal?
It was either $5,000 a week.
Big difference, you know.
Yeah.
4 weeks.
For 4 weeks. That's what it was supposed to be.
So it went from 5,000 a week to 5,000.
Yeah, because I don't know what he's.
That's like a 75.
You know how he is.
It's a 75% pay cut.
And I said, Larry, I can't do it for $5,000, man. I have a kid. You know, my son was just born then.
This is Ronnie Jr.
Ronnie Jr.
Right.
And you know, I need money to keep my shit going. I can't go away for a month for $5,000.
He changed the deal at the last.
He changed the deal like 2 weeks before we left.
He was
2
figuring that
weeks.
he'd go for it.
He figured I would go for it.
Right.
And I said, you know, I can't do it, but you know what? Let me call Jim. Yeah, sure.
What was Jim doing at the time?
Nothing.
So his The Hard Way days, Black Belt Jones, they all that?
He died after
Hot Potato.
Hot
remember?
Potato.
I mean, that was a
He
real.
died after Hot Potato.
That was a-
He said, sure. I said, Larry, I got somebody for you. And he was happy because he was in the film with Bruce Lee. He said, oh, yeah.
Jim Kelly. I mean.
And after he did it, he said he hated him. He can't do martial arts like you. He's terrible.
So did you knew?
And they
Jim
wound
Kelly.
up giving him $10,000.
Okay, so they gave him half of what you were supposed to
And
get, and
he worked, what did he say he worked? 6 weeks? I think he said he worked 6 weeks on that film.
I went over. So had
It
you
went
done
over
it,
budget.
Had you done it, you would have gotten $30,000
Yeah.
back then or whatever.
Yeah.
And now, did you know Kelly?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, when did you guys first?
I met Jim with Steve Muhammad. I was fighting at Parker's International
At the
Championship.
Internationals?
That's where I know Ed from, and he introduced me to Steve because Steve was like one of his #1 guys,
Right.
and Jim was one of Steve's students.
Oh, okay.
So that's how we met.
So you met him before the movies.
Before either one of us was doing movies,
Okay, so
I was competing.
uh-huh.
I used to go to fight at the internationals
Right.
every year. I would.
What year would this be around?
70, 71,
70 around there.
71.
Yeah, Kelly was getting onto the scene.
71,
then, wasn't
72. Yeah.
he? You know, he trained with Joe Lewis. He trained with Sanders.
No, he didn't train with Joe Lewis.
He did.
He-
Oh no, he took a seminar.
He took a seminar.
Took a seminar.
He didn't like Joe Lewis. That was one of our conversations. He didn't like Joe Lewis at all.
He had. He took Joe's back fist.
He took Bruce's back fist.
Yeah, well, Joe. You know, I mean, it went down the line. Actually, if you think about it, Kelly was indirectly a student of Bruce Lee's. You know, if you want to.
Yeah, if you really want to
Yeah, I
think
mean,
about it.
I don't even think Kelly realized it.
He did.
He-
But you have to remember that they were trying to make him have that look.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
the finger look and all that
Oh,
stuff.
he was copying directly. What you're doing, your film, you never copied anybody.
I just did me.
Yeah, I mean, you were like total original from the first scene in Black Dragon. You know, you were in the overalls.
I tried to be different from what had been
What is it?
shown already.
I mean, Kelly just dived right into the Bruce Lee mode.
Yeah.
You know, and he got a lot of breaks that actually you should have gotten, in my opinion. You know,
I don't really think so. There wasn't any projects that he did that I wanted to do.
like the Black Belt Jones films.
I was actually offered Black Belt Jones.
You were?
Yeah, but at the time I just had a baby,
Mhm.
you know, and I just couldn't leave like that.
Was that Ronnie Jr.?
Yeah.
Oh, so it was Ronnie Jr.
Yeah, so I couldn't, you know, I was away until a month before he was born. How could I
Right.
not be there?
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I made 2 films. That's why I wasn't there until a month before he was born. I missed 8 months of the pregnancy. I missed the whole thing.
Sure.
And my wife was a little upset.
I would think
You know,
so.
and you gonna go make this next movie too?
I think
Another movie?
that probably was a deal breaker, wasn't it?
It was the deal breaker.
Yeah.
It was the
I
deal
can't
breaker.
do it,
I said, guys,
my marriage is gonna collapse.
and she left me
I don't mean
6
to
months
laugh,
later
I
anyway.
don't mean to laugh at you, but it's the irony, isn't it?
She left me 6 months later anyway. I had Black Belt Jones I turned down, and I turned down, what was the other one?
I hope you turned out. Did they offer you hot potato?
Yeah.
I'm glad you turned that
God,
down.
I turned it. You know, Harry Hope said to me, don't take that film. I said, you sure? I mean, it's a big company. He says,
Don't do it, huh? Harry Hope, for people don't know, was a producer, quite successful actually. His movies they all made money.
did you know he was a DEA agent?
I'd heard, you heard rumors about Harry Hope.
Retired
Oh,
DEA.
right. He did that Death Dimension with Jim
Right.
Kelly. You
Right.
probably turned that down.
Yes. With, not just Jim Kelly, with...
Myron Bruce Lee,
right.
George Lazenby.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, but it
I
made
passed
money.
right on that. I said, Harry, come on, I can't do that, man.
It was
He
really,
came to me with 3 dragons or some bullshit.
And
I
the
said,
3 dragons.
I said, Harry, please, man, you know, we'll get Dragon Lee. I had just finished working with him. I said, no, not again, man.
But I mean, Harry Hope never lost money on pictures.
I liked Harry Hope. He was able to put a deal together on almost nothing, you know?
Yeah, the guy was really clever.
Yeah, he was clever.
And, you know, Kelly and you were really on the screen at the same time. You know, you were the two.
Some people would say, are you Jim Kelly?
Oh, you're lying.
And some people have said to him, are you Ron
Ron
Van
Van
Fleet? We were laughing one time in Chicago at a tournament. Jim and I were both the guests at the Tournament of the Century.
Right.
And we were supposed to do an exhibition together, but he copped out. And it would have been...
Would have been awesome.
It would have been awesome.
That would have been historic, actually.
That
If you
would have
think
been
about it.
awesome.
Right?
I said, Jim, let's give them a treat, man. He saw me. I was all pumped
Right.
up. He said,
No.
not, you're not going to get me that way. We were laughing backstage. He said, no way, man.
Yeah.
So I wound up fighting Bill Wallace at night and ripping him apart.
Oh, is that why Bill's still mad at you to this day?
Bill's still mad with me. You know, we fought 3 times. He won 1, I won 1, and the other one was a draw.
Right.
And he swears to God that I never beat him. I said, well,
Yeah, that's
a draw and a win, that's something to me.
One time when I was doing one of my karate summits, I was picking him up from the airport, and just to mess with him, I said, "Oh, you know, Ron Van Cleef's going to be right next door to you," and his face just stiffened. All right, his neck was like, he goes, "What?" He goes, "I want to fight that guy as soon as I see
I'm
him."
going to tell you a funny story.
I'm like, "Come on, calm down, you know, silly."
We're in the Bahamas, and we're doing a seminar for my friend who has like 5 schools on the island. And so I see Bill. I say, Bill, man, let's give these guys a treat. So we
Right.
sparred and everything. I mean,
Really?
not heavy, but
Yeah,
you
we
know.
just mix it up.
So at the end of the night, I said, Bill, come on back to the hotel with me. And so he spent the night with me.
Yeah, I mean, he
And we sort of
talks
like,
a good
yeah,
game, you know.
And then we
Right.
played golf the next day.
Right.
So
that's Bill.
you know,
That's Bill.
let's go hit some balls. I said, sure, shit.
So the first time you fought Wallace, you beat him.
The first time I fought him, I beat him. Then he beat me, and then we had a draw.
Which one did you do the sweeps on him? You kept sweeping him?
At the Tournament of the Century down in Hampton, Virginia.
Really?
Yeah.
He
He didn't like
I think
that.
that's what pissed him off.
He was
the
very
most.
upset. I
Right.
swept him 4 times.
Right.
He got up. He says, "That's my bad knee." I said,
Hey.
"Bill, what am I supposed to do, man? We're in the ring. We're not playing golf today. We're in the ring, man, and I'm not going to let you kick me in my face."
Oh.
You know, his first kick, he smacked me right upside my face with that round kick. I said, "That's the end of that shit."
He could tag anyone with that.
Yeah,
Isn't that amazing?
but
he had it down.
the idea of it was he used his foot like his hand. It was that.
And he would hit you on your blind side.
Yes, that shit would be back here somewhere, and he'd say,
Where did that come
Where'd that
from?
come from?
It was amazing.
he kicked me in my ear one time, and my ear started ringing. I said, "Now,
All right.
where the fuck did that come from?" You know?
He was quite
Yeah.
versed in that. That was his forte.
He only had a front kick, a round kick, and a hook kick.
You know, he was a judo man.
Yeah.
And then I think that's how he hurt his knee. And he
Yeah.
got into the thing. So I guess the sweeps came in. You said, all right, I got to equalize this.
I took him right down.
And you know how embarrassing it is.
He said to me after the fourth sweep, Jeff Smith was the chief referee. He said, "Jeff, come on, straighten him out, man."
I remember one time.
Bill doesn't want you to sweep me anymore. I said, "Come on, guys.
You know.
This is a match."
I keep thinking that there was a time when I first came up to your place. You were teaching at Raduz on.
57th.
Was on 57th?
Yeah, 57th. Yeah. He's always been a 57.
I remember
just
you had
moved
to
from
take
two
an
different
elevator
sides.
up.
57.
There was a washing machine in that place,
Yeah.
I remember, right?
Yeah,
I just remember
sure,
the washing
sure.
machine. But you had this student fighting Taiwan, right? And the dude came in with him with an axe kick, right? And I just remember you walking up to him going, "He got you with an axe kick?
Oh, yeah.
Got you with an axe
With that shit.
Give me 50.
Yeah.
Right? So when you talk about the sweep, that's what comes to my mind, right? He got you with an axe kick. Remember that thing you had? It was like this broomstick with like a roll
I
of
got that
tape.
from Bruce.
Really? Oh,
I got that from Bruce.
I mean,
that was one of
with
his
the boxing
inventions.
glove at the end.
With the toilet paper roll
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
We still use it.
And you tag it everyone. Right. I just remember Timok had just seen, it was like the Hearns Hagler fight or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
And he was in a boxing mode. And you
Yeah.
couldn't tag him, so finally just like clopped him over the head.
I remember that.
But it was a nice invention.
Yeah, we still use that actually.
You still use it?
Sure.
But when you were doing this Way of Black Dragon, were you doing it?
I got that from Bruce though.
Yeah, there's a drawing in one of the.
I got
the
that from
things,
Bruce.
similar.
Yeah, I saw it in his garage one day, and I said, "You know what?
That's
I'm going to make one of those." This is
Clever, right?
Yeah.
Were you doing any bodyguard work at the time?
What year?
When you were
Talking
doing,
about?
well, I guess before Way of Black Dragon. Were you?
Yes. George Benson.
Uh-huh.
I was his bodyguard for a number of years.
I met him up at your place, actually.
I did 5 world tours with him.
Okay. Did that lead to other work, like this other
Oh
references
yeah.
and so on?
You know, he got me gigs with.
Did they covet you, like, you know?
No, actually, I got a lot of gigs from that.
It
You know
shoots
the
off, doesn't
oh man, I can't think of his name now. He's known for creating music for TV shows. He had a brain cancer.
He's passed on now?
No, he hasn't passed on.
I don't know.
Oh my God, he did the soundtrack for the Sidney Poitier and Rod Steiger, him down south. They think he's
Call Me
he
Mr.
kills.
Tibbs?
No, the one before that.
In the Heat of the Night?
In the Heat of the Night.
All right, so for you...
You know who did the music for that?
Who?
Oh, come on.
I don't know. Listen, for all you people listening, go to imdb.com, get back to us. All right, we'll be waiting. So you got a lot of gigs off that.
Oh, yeah, a
So
lot
was
of
Benson your
gigs.
first?
Benson
big-
wasn't my first big, but he was very helpful internationally because we traveled all over the world. So
Sure.
I got a chance to meet
Nice.
people in France, in Spain, in Italy.
I mean, you basically got the reflected glory
Yeah.
of being, you got to eat the same food and
Yeah.
the big sweets.
Yeah,
and
the
then,
big sweets and everything.
Without
Without
work.
kicking out 3,000 a night, right?
Did he ever have any problems?
Yes.
He did.
Yes.
I met
Even
him.
George Benson,
nicest
who
man
is
in
a
the world.
Jehovah's Witness, who's one of the nicest people in the world. There was always a guy pulled a knife on him one time in Italy.
Good God, why?
Yeah.
It's a silly question to ask.
I have no idea. George was sitting in a bar after the show,
Right.
and there were ladies and stuff. But George never messes around because he's like, he believes that Jehovah's Witness stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the women follow him around, and this guy came in because his wife or girlfriend was there, and the guy actually pulled out a knife.
Oh my God. And what did you do? You had to.
I had to straighten the guy out. And George tells that story to this day. He kicked the knife right out of the guy's hand and it stuck in the ceiling. That was like a kung fu movie, He tells that story every time I see him.
What about you? Did you ever get challenged because of your film status?
Oh yeah,
You hear stories about
plenty
Stallone
of times, plenty of times.
Like, give me an example.
After I made the Black Dragon's Revenge, it opened in America,
Right.
and I was still going to tournaments and things, and that's the guy that was in the Black Dragon's Revenge. He doesn't know anything. He's just a movie
dude, right?
movie dude, you know. I mean,
Okay.
a lot of that. The guys would come over. Do you really know martial arts? Man, I got a lot. And they would come to my school.
They'd find you.
They'd find me. People would find me, George. You would not believe. I'm from Hollywood, Florida. I don't even know where Hollywood, Florida is. I came up to spar with you. Some guy came up one time, bodybuilder kid,
Right.
came to Sensei Urban's.
Right.
And Sensei Urban, of course, says, okay, Michael, get on the floor with him.
On deck.
On deck. I get out there and I put one hand behind my back and I fight this guy with just my left hand.
Really?
Yeah, for like 2 minutes. And then I put the right hand behind my back and fight him with the other hand. And then I put both behind and fight with both feet. And Sensei's back there laughing at this guy.
Now, I know for a fact you must have just seen like one-on boxer with Wang Yu
Yeah.
and were influenced there.
That was
so did you get a
funny.
lot of that?
I got a lot of that, sure.
Now, people should know.
Especially at tournaments. And I was already a tournament fighter. I had been in tournaments for over
Right.
20 years at that time. I would face someone and they say, oh, that's the guy from that Black Dragon movie. I know he doesn't know anything.
So, you
Even
never
on the
come-
set of Black Dragon, I had a couple of people challenge me. And I had to fight 3 stuntmen on the Black Dragon's Revenge set.
Now, what about work-wise? Were these movies helping you get work in Hollywood? I know you're doing TV
No.
work.
I was doing a lot of TV work before I even started doing any martial arts films, and I continued to do TV. I spent a year on Oz.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time on television.
So, but at the time,
I've probably done a lot more television work than I've done any other work.
because I was always hoping as a kid, I'd go see your movies,
Mhm.
and they'd be in like the darkest points to hell,
Mhm.
playing,
Sure, sure.
But I'd go see. Yeah, actually, those neighborhoods, those theaters. Actually, there was never had a problem.
Yeah.
You know.
I know.
People think like you're going there, you're going to get killed or something, but it was.
But that's
fine.
not true. Yeah.
I saw your films at the Kenmore Theater in Brooklyn,
Mhm,
the Astor Theater,
The
that's
Fox
on-
down on Fulton Street.
I never went to
Albee?
the Fox. The Albee, yes, but predominantly myself, I used to see him on Church Avenue in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
and there was like a row.
We actually did a promotion there with Jason Lau and all those guys.
Jason
for
was
that.
on Church Avenue, so you had the Lowe's Kings, which never showed kung fu.
Mhm.
They were like they showed the Godfather
Yeah.
stuff. There was the Albemarle, which also showed
Mhm,
like
mhm.
Saturday Night.
Yeah,
But
sure.
then next to Erasmus High School,
Mhm.
you had the Astor, which was
Yeah,
like this
yeah.
rectangle.
Mhm.
But to me, that was the best place in the world.
Yeah, it showed kung fu movies all
And
the
they
time.
showed all your movies there, right? So you probably did a promotion there.
Mhm.
Because Jason was like literally up the street.
Yeah.
And there was like
We actually used Jason's school and his guys to help us with the promotion for that there.
perfect. And
Yeah.
I mean, you were friends with Jason, of course, for many years.
Yeah, sure.
People that don't know, Jason Lau was a Wing Chun Kung Fu stylist in that
From
area.
Duncan Leung.
Duncan Young lineage.
Mhm.
And I remember next door to the Astor was like a Chinese gift shop, and of course they had all the Kung Fu,
Mhm.
Bruce Lee punching puppets. So that's where, your movies would be playing.
Mhm.
And it's amazing, these are little theaters. They probably hold like a couple hundred seats, but they were making buku dollars
Yeah.
for, with your movies.
Yeah.
And I remember even, I met, what's his face there? The Astor, Rudy Ray Moore.
Oh yeah.
He did the Human
He was a good
Tornado,
friend of mine. Yeah, nice man.
the
Very
Human-
nice man.
Human Tornado. he
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
And I went to see. I thought it was going to be a kung fu movie, so I was damn disappointed.
Mhm.
I was like, what is this shit? And it wasn't even with a kung fu movie co-feature.
I know.
At least Seraphim had the good sense to double up your movies
Sure.
with another kung fu.
Mhm.
So you got like full day's entertainment. Where were the Black Dragon films more popular? Would you say, stateside or overseas?
Stateside.
So U.S. was really a base.
U.S. and Europe. When I would go to Europe, boy, I got more play than I got in the States.
I saw your films.
And in Africa, unbelievable. Wow.
How was that? How was Africa there for you? That must have
I
been
spent
amazing.
3 years in Ghana.
And the films had been there.
The films had been there, yeah.
So you must have been like Muhammad Ali.
I
or
was the
something,
Muhammad Ali
right?
of Ghana. They would always write about me in the newspaper as the Karate King,
Really?
the King of Kumasi.
So
Yeah.
what is King of Kumasi?
Kumasi is the capital of Ghana.
Wow, you got high praise. I saw your films in Greece, actually. A friend of the family's was a distributor. He had Death of Bruce Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually called, the literal title in Greece would be The Black Dragon Avenges the Death of Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
It was a long title. And it was so popular that even stuff like, remember those like Velvet Smooth? So they would call like The Black Dragon's Daughter, for example. You know, I mean, it reached a point where they'd offshoot.
Yeah.
You know, there was one, even Terry called it Black Dragon versus Yellow Tiger or something.
Yeah.
Remember? There was something.
Sure.
You know, it was.
They ripped that off totally.
Yeah. So I mean, the Black Dragon was getting some play, wasn't it? You know. Did you ever see your films in the islands?
Yes. Plenty of times.
I mean, the Jamaicans must have gone mad.
Completely crazy. Trinidad.
You know, I mean.
Puerto Rico, unbelievable.
Yeah, PR probably was.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Did you know Ray Wells was from Puerto Rico?
Yes.
I mean, he didn't look.
I knew his wife.
I call her like every 2-3 years. Well, I don't know. Was he married to her then? I met Ray in the early '80s.
We're talking to the Puerto Rican lady, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice lady. And her name.
No,
is
very nice. Very
Eva.
nice.
Eva.
Eva.
Eva. Right. They were trying to hook me up with her sister. Ray's like, "You want to get married?"
You tried to hook me up with it too. No thanks.
So you know, so see, that's what I see. You know, like Ray goes, and you know, Larry's still around. Just shows you.
Yeah.
You know.
And Larry should be gone because I liked Ray. I liked Ray a lot.
I mean, Ray was.
He was a down guy, right?
Very, a true gentleman, a true friend.
Yeah. And if he said something, he meant it. He wasn't like Larry Joachim, who 1 minute he said something, and 2 minutes later, you couldn't get the same sentence from him.
Ray spoke very high. This was before, I met Ray in 81, 82, and he had Bamboo Trap, which he was going to call Devil's Dragons. And he brought your name up, that he was going to reshoot some scenes with you in Long Island or something. He was going to call it Devil's Dragons. And he even showed me the artwork. And it had you doing the famous jumping front kick.
Yeah.
Leo Fong. Yeah, so, and that was going to be his next project before he died, actually.
Yeah, I know.
And so on.
He had spoken to me about that.
Yeah, I was really upset when he passed.
Me too.
And
not because of the film. I liked Ray because he used to put Larry in his place for me.
He got into
He'd say to Larry, "Stop fucking with Van Cleef," and it was great, man. You know.
He actually got physical with Larry.
Yeah, I know.
That was like at the very end. You know, it got to the point, and he willed me his address book actually, and I just could not go pick it up. I told Eve, I said it would kill me. I said I can't. She goes, "Listen, I'm going to keep it in the closet for you if you ever want." I said, Eve, I said I couldn't possibly open that thing up. I said, there's no way. That's how strongly I felt about Ray Wells.
It's like Sam Silverstein. I loved him.
Oh, Sam, he loved you.
Yeah.
You know, and Irene, you know, she used to say, "Oh, he's the sexiest man in the world." Oh, Ron. You know, I would tell like, "Oh, listen, you know, Ron's coming over." She goes, "Oh," and she go to the bathroom and get made up. Ron's coming. She goes, "Oh, right."
No.
So these were good guys.
Yeah.
Who
I like Sam. I learned a lot from him, and he was generous with his information. That was nice.
like Ray.
Yeah.
You know,
like
very,
Ray.
very, very much so. You know, and
Larry, you couldn't get anything out of him.
nah, man, that guy would squeeze the quarter so hard the ego in the back would scream. I mean, that guy was, a classic, right? How many cities did you see your movies here? How many cities would you say in this country? I know New York, of course.
Oh God, Surfing put me on a road a couple of times, and I went to at least 30 cities.
Did you do the Loop in Chicago?
Yes.
How about the Fox Theater in Detroit?
Oh man, unbelievable.
Huh?
Unbelievable.
Is that an experience?
When I saw the Black Dragon's Revenge there,
I mean,
I felt like I was the President of the United States.
for the listeners out there who don't know about the Fox Theater, Elvis Presley played the Fox Theater in the theater,
Yes.
and they turned it into a movie theater down the line, which was the premier kung fu movie theater
For Detroit,
for
yeah.
Detroit.
Sure.
That's where you saw your kung fu. You know, they didn't have a 42nd Street, or Chicago had the Loop. So that must have been an experience.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was really amazing. People were around that theater like
You were a rock star.
like I was a rock
You were
star.
Elvis.
Yeah, it was
You know,
unbelievable.
right? I mean, so
I never took the movie serious, any of that movie making serious, and to see that many people was very shocking. You know, it really was.
were you ever tempted to franchise the karate schools?
I never wanted to do that. I was offered a few deals from several people that had big bucks. I didn't want to do that.
You know, do like a Black Dragon system?
I didn't want to do it.
Why?
I thought that was selling out.
Do you regret making that decision?
No.
Uh,
I see what martial arts is today. I didn't make
And you don't want to
I didn't
buy
make a
it?
bad decision.
Yeah.
I made the correct decision.
I've asked that question to just about every martial artist I've come in contact with.
Mhm.
And surprisingly, like Joe Louis said the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like he never even had a dojo after the 60s. He
Yeah.
just, Chuck Norris,
Mhm.
stopped
Sure.
doing it. So I guess there reaches a saturation point where the quality starts deteriorating.
It has to. It has to.
And as someone who's devoted so much time to it, you can't see
I
that.
don't want to see it happen to what I do. You know?
Is there a middle ground?
No.
You would have found it if it was,
I would have found it.
and it just isn't there.
50 years of training, I would have found
I
it
think you would
already.
have. How about? I really last night I thought about I'm thinking of questions to ask you, and it came to me that I believe that you were the only, I'll say, film star, martial arts movie star, however you want to phrase it, that was actively competing while filming.
No one else competed.
You know, I thought about it long and hard, and I know
No one else competed.
Chuck
He stopped before
stopped before.
way before.
Joe kind of came in after the movies didn't work out. He got back into the scene, but not. You understand? You're the only one who was like during the whole tenure
But
of the Black.
that's what I
Dragons.
was before. How could
Yeah,
I
you didn't
not?
stop.
How could I stop?
I mean, can you picture?
I competed in the All-American 27 times out of his 35-year.
Amazing. I mean,
27.
I mean, you just didn't.
And I won 15 times.
Mhm.
Imagine. More than half, more than 50%. I won.
So it's safe to say that you are definitely a martial artist first and foremost before anything else.
For sure.
And that's the way it's going to stay.
Till I go in the box.
I mean, can you picture, to give the listener an idea, can you picture a Van Damme, a Seagal, or someone of that stature going into competition?
They
It's just
couldn't.
not
They
gonna
don't have.
happen.
First of all, they don't have the skill.
No.
I know Van Damme and I know Seagal. Van Damme never had the skill to compete. When he did win his one tournament, he fought his own student.
Yeah, it's nothing. I mean,
That's not being a champion.
no, what you did is to not only while you were filming, but to continue on that as though nothing was different. And
I got knocked out even.
And-
So what?
Well, actually, that's a point I wanted to bring up. That one of your philosophies that I've taken into myself is the fact that it's not the fight, but what you take from it. Winning and
It's
losing.
only the experience. It's not the winning and losing. Nobody can say they won all their fights. No one can. I run into guys all the time. I was never beaten.
That doesn't sound right.
No one. I don't think there's anyone that good that has never been beaten, because being beaten is part of winning.
That's
If you
what you
don't
taught me.
lose, you can't win.
That's what I learned. When I came up to your place and started sparring with the guys, I could feel bad afterwards. And then you told me hey, so what? So what? You got hit in the face. So what? And I'm like, yeah, he's right. I didn't go to hell.
That's right.
The sun came up the next day.
Came up the next day. He might have had to put a little ice on there, but other than that,
So what? And you lifted that psychological barrier that I think many people have with sparring, where I think it's really ego busting.
it's
More
all
than
it is. When I fought in the UFC at 51, everybody talked badly about me. Everybody.
I didn't. Remember, I bought you your shorts.
Yeah, I remember.
I mean, I knew that no matter what, you were going to come out a champion and get people's respect. And
I trained hard for that.
yeah,
I trained really hard,
I remember.
and I gave my best.
When I called you at the hotel.
Yeah, I
and
remember.
you were like, I'm like, well, what place do you have in there? Like, my first fight is with Hoist. God is great.
Right, you remember? Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
all you wanted. You just want a piece of Hoist Gracie. You didn't care about the other stuff.
Yeah.
But looking back on that, to bring that up, all right, you held out the longest against Hoist at that point.
Up until that point, I was the longest person in the ring with him.
And if the rules of today were applied, they would have broken you up
That's right.
A couple of minutes into it, you would have gone over it again and so forth. The outcome would have been a lot different.
Would have been quite different.
Not to take away from Hoyce, but you lasted the long, and you were in your 50s.
51.
This wasn't the Ron Van Cleef at 30.
A month from 52.
So, he was fighting a dude who wasn't at his prime, and you still held out. That's pretty impressive. And that opened up a lot of doors.
I thought that just going to that would be something that would be wonderful.
I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to say any, I'm not going to, I spoke to a lot of prominent name martial artists, and they either said you were an idiot. These are guys in your age bracket.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm not going to mention names. They either thought you were a fool, like, what's he doing this for? It was all negative connotations. I was talking to actually an editor from a martial arts magazine, and the guy was saying, I said, are you going to cover this? And he's like, no. He just thought it was a joke. I said, listen, this opens up a whole new world. I go, this guy's 50 plus, and he's going to fight in the octagon against
a 26-year-old guy.
Hoist Gracie, the champion. I said, that deserves some type of merit. But to them, it was almost like an embarrassment.
Yes.
That this was happening.
Everyone I talked to said the same thing.
Yeah.
You should feel bad. That guy kicked your ass.
Can you tell us what happened with you and Hoist afterwards?
We became the best of friends. We were good friends. I trained with him. His father took me to Rio. I mean, they treated me like I was their family. Like I was their family.
So that
and gave me the job as the commissioner of the UFC.
There you go. So
that has to say something.
All right.
Hoy said I had to get you out as soon as I could because I know that you would have hurt me.
There you go.
So that was a plus for me.
And actually, you did hurt him.
Yeah.
You did hurt him. Most people think he just tackled you. You actually popped him.
Popped him twice in the face on the way in. And if you see pictures of him and I after the fight, he's the one that's all swollen and.
I mean, dude, he got your respect at the end of the day.
Yeah, he told me.
Right.
He's have a great deal of respect for you.
And from that led other things.
Yeah.
And the good thing about that is it silenced all these gossiping Marys, who, it's almost like your outlook in life is one of positive, it's like.
It can only be positive.
Like, what's his name? Angelo Dundee always said, I always talk winning because it doesn't cost any more than to talk losing.
That's right.
And you seem to embody that.
That's only one way to go.
Now, we've been talking, we haven't mentioned really anything about Way of Black Dragon.
Oh, my
You
God.
just appeared on screen. That's why I haven't said anything about the movie.
I'm sorry.
No, listen. You come into this movie 42 minutes, in. So,
I thought it was 35 minutes in.
What? You come in way too late.
This is one of my students, too.
Oh, what's his name?
Holger,
Where's he from?
from Germany.
Now, where was this scene filmed?
This was filmed at the police headquarters in Hong Kong.
Okay, so did you go to Hong Kong first to start on this, or
We
Thailand?
started this in Hong Kong.
Right.
I was staying with Sifu Leon Tang.
Okay, at the time.
And at that time.
Right.
And we shot in Hong Kong for a few weeks.
I'm sorry. What an interesting shot. They zoom in on your face and zoom out on her tits.
Yeah, I know.
That's something Spielberg.
The director was very interesting.
So, how much time did you spend in Hong Kong?
We spent about 2.5, 3 weeks in Hong Kong, and then we went to Thailand.
That long? Wow. What kind of shoot was
Charlie arrived late.
this?
They were waiting for him, and one of the stars was filming a film, and he couldn't get off until the film was finished. So that's why we had to wait the extra. I was only supposed to be there a week.
That's why I'm asking, like 2 weeks, and you
it
only
was
did
like
like a
it was
handful of
almost like
scenes.
3 weeks because Charlie, I think his wife had given birth. He couldn't leave right away,
Right.
and there was something between the actors or something. Oh, Carter was working on something, and he couldn't.
Wasn't he always?
He couldn't. Carter was working on 3 films at one time when we were working on this
Always.
in Thailand.
Amazing, huh? I mean,
He got me a gig on another film while I was there.
really? So, was this your first time back since Death of Bruce Lee?
No,
You'd made the
no, I
trips?
had made a couple of times.
Yeah, so you basically were...
I went over and I stayed with Leon Ting for about 10 months. I lived in his school.
The school on Nathan Road?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you were staying there?
Yeah.
I'll be... I don't know...
I used to feed his bird and his hawk and his snake.
He redid the place. I'm
Yeah,
looking,
yeah,
the whole, even the
Yeah, I know.
the stairs.
I know.
And when I first went up there, you told me to go see him about The Last Dragon 2. He had your photo up there and John Liu's, like autograph.
Yeah, yeah,
That was
yeah.
all he had of outside the Wing Chun thing. And that's high praise indeed.
For sure. Over there.
Yeah, and to have your portrait up, you had signed it. I forget what it was. He even used it in his book.
Yeah.
As an
Teacher of Masters or something.
something like that. And
I have a great deal of respect for Sifu. I learned a lot from him, and I learned a lot non-martial arts too, and how he deals with people and
Yes.
his honor. He has honor.
Very much
He
so.
has honor,
I
and
have,
you don't see that.
no, I haven't spent nearly enough time as you have with young Ting, but
No, he's an honorable man. If he says something, hell or high water, he keeps his word.
True. When
He keeps his word.
When I first heard of him, so to speak, I was with Moyat Wing Chun branch, and Moyat would always slang
Bad
him
mouth, I'm sure.
and so forth. And I always kept an open mind, because if I don't know you, I can't possibly like you or hate you as much.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And I first met him through you, and he was a super nice guy.
Nice guy, gentleman.
And the way the Wing Chun families had pictured him, you'd expect them to have like horns
Horns.
and a
I know,
tail and stuff.
I know.
And, they were just jealous.
When Bruce told me about him, people said, "No, don't go to him. That guy's full of shit." I said, "Bruce told me, Carter told me. Both those guys I have respect for." So,
Actually, was this your first time meeting Carter? This film?
no, I had met Carter. Carter was one of the guys that I met when I first met Bruce Lee.
Ah, okay. So
Carter was, he was one of the guys that really helped me in the film business.
how's that?
He introduced me to a lot of people. He introduced me to the guy that did that rip-off of the Bruce Lee film after he died, where they had the look-alike Game of Death. What's that guy's name?
Bruce Lee?
No, the guy that produced it. Come on, Golden Harvest. Raymond Chow.
Right.
He introduced me to Raymond Chow and his guy. Was it Morgan?
Andre Morgan.
Andre Morgan.
Oh, Andre, yeah.
And what was the other guy's name? Oh God, there was
David
another
Chan.
guy. There was another guy there, another white guy. I think he might have been like from maybe French or something.
Him, I don't know. I know of Andre.
Yeah, well, he introduced me to all of those people.
Carter, did a bunch of. He did
Yeah.
Angela Mao.
Yeah.
Did you see his films on 42nd Street?
Yeah.
His movies, were all over.
Oh,
the place.
bronze, this and all that stuff. Yeah.
I mean, the guy was a big star in the kung fu
Yeah.
scene, and so was there.
I went to Thailand to see him shoot Rambo 3 because he was the coordinator.
Ah, that's.
I got a
yes,
great.
you
I sent you that picture.
Yes, you did.
Of
You're right.
he and yeah.
That's right.
I shot that picture.
So, when and you knew Stallone.
Yeah.
So it was like one big happy reunion. The respect I notice is there between you and Carter.
No, Carter and I are brothers. We're
you know?
tight.
I mean,
We're tight.
as martial artists, I mean.
Yeah.
And
And we've got down. He's
oh, how was that?
phew, tough. He can
Really?
take it.
He-
He can take it and dish it.
Really?
Which is, a lot of guys can dish it out. Very few can take it and dish it out.
Agreed.
You
Well,
know?
you probably helped him when he moved to New York.
Yes, I helped him with that whole thing.
Remember he opened
Yeah.
up his school?
Yeah, I used to go there all the time.
And I went to see him, and I told him I knew Joseph Quo.
I went to the opening and everything. Yeah,
I mean, he's such a nice man.
yeah Carter's a good guy.
And, he has almost like that Clark Kent matinee.
He sure does. He sure does.
And, I think that he got a lot of work. And he's another
I gave you
one.
the footage on this, right?
Yeah, the behind the
footage?
scenes is on the bonus features.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the guy you're kicking there is Chen Lung.
Yeah, I remember him.
From Enter the Dragon, and he played one of the red.
He was in Chuck's movie too. That one they shot in Chicago. Remember?
You mean the low way one? Or yeah, it must be. You must mean Slow in San Francisco.
Right, yeah,
that one.
yeah.
And these are all the Bruce Lee guys.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah,
you see.
I met a lot of these guys, like Unicorn Chan, who was a really nice guy,
All these guys.
and Dick Chan.
Yeah,
All
all
those
these
guys were
guys.
nice guys.
Chen Long, I'm very good friends with, and his brother, Bead's Eye, is a big action director. Little
Mhm.
Mung Hoi, they're the little guy.
Mhm,
They
mhm.
all reach prominence.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
and Carter, people should know, is probably one of the busiest.
Yeah.
Um,
It's gotten a little heavy recently, though.
really?
Yeah.
But back then,
Some last year.
you know, this guy was making, really? Well,
But he's not as old as I am.
oh, he isn't?
No. Carter's got to be 3 or 4 years younger than me.
Well, I mean, he was always in great shape.
Yeah, but he's,
Maybe he's letting it go now.
Yeah.
Gotta, you know, I guess he's you know, kicking back. He's the beers, you know, poor Carl. But this guy was working 24/7.
we had a lot of fun together, though, especially on the set. Oh, my God.
Like what? Give me for
We'd
instance.
be laughing about how we used to beat up the stunt guys. He says, I don't give a shit about them. They're here to make me look good. And he would, like, palm them in the face and stuff.
Really?
Ooh.
This is
I kicked the stuntman on the set one day by accident,
right,
and I felt so bad. He had a bow staff in front of him.
right.
You can see it in the scene, and I kicked the thing, and it breaks and hits him in the face.
Oh,
and
man.
I felt so bad. You know, God is fuck him.
Well, he
Let's
was
set up the next shot. You know. I mean, the guy was bleeding, and you know, a wooden thing hit him in the
What,
face.
you like spin kicked it
Yeah,
and
and it broke,
it broke.
and it hit him right in the face, right in the face.
Terrible.
You know.
So Carter was. This was like one of the 15 films he was working on that month.
He was working on 3 films at one time.
I mean,
We were going to the set one day. I told you this. There were about 8 of us in 8 cars, and we were doing 100 miles an hour. These guys were, what are those little cars that they, what are those little cars
tuk-tuk
called?
things? Jeepneys?
Not jeepneys. They're made for racing, but they're small. What are those cars called? They're very popular in Thailand. Small
ones you're
race
talking about.
cars.
I know the ones you're talking about.
He
I don't know the Thai
he
name
knew
for them.
friends. He had friends that owned them, so they took us out one day to the set,
Right.
and they were doing over 100 miles an hour. 8 of us going in between traffic. You know how small those roads are.
Oh, terrible.
100 miles an hour. The first car hit a kid.
Right.
We ran over that kid with our car. We felt it go over, boom, 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 and each car ran over that kid.
Oh my God.
We were going so fast that we could not stop. I said, Carter, stop. He says,
You can't?
bullshit, we can't stop. We'll be dead.
Oh my God.
But I felt so bad. But because this was a kid, it wasn't like an old man or a cow or a goat or something. It was actually a kid.
But isn't that commonplace there? Accidents
Well,
are the same thing as.
Accidents aren't the same
That's
as in the
excused.
States. But I still felt really, really bad. This was a kid. And you know, hitting a kid at 100 miles an hour, the kid could not have lived through that. And running over him too.
No way. No way.
There's no way, you know?
Is this scene shot in Hong Kong still?
No, this is in Thailand.
So you've now moved to Thailand.
Yeah.
So basically, you did like one or two. You did like one fight scene in Hong Kong.
One fight scene in Hong Kong, that's all we did.
So the rest of your time, you were pretty much at leisure, waiting for.
I was going to seafood school training.
Okay.
I was going to Leon Ting's, and I was going to the free fighting club.
And.
And trying to keep Charlie from going crazy.
I mean, now.
And Charlie didn't want to work on this film. He didn't want to work with me anymore.
Oh, this was after.
This was right after
he
Black.
he had made that comment about. Now you brought all the stunt guys from Hong Kong into Thailand. Why is that?
They couldn't find what they wanted, and they wanted to match the guys that we
Oh,
just.
so these aren't
same
just stunt
gang.
guys. This is the gang.
It's a gang.
All right. What did you think of the Thai stunt guys?
Not as good as the American stunt guys then.
So things have changed now.
Now I think they're better than the American stunt guys for sure, and equal to the Chinese.
Yeah, I think they've really
Yeah.
stepped up.
They've
the
stepped
game.
up the game a lot.
You know the.
I mean, guys like Tony Jaa are better than Bruce, are better than Jackie, are better than Jet Li, are better, all around better,
They do it quicker, better,
cleaner,
I mean,
smoother.
Tony Jaa's athletic ability, like leaping over humans.
No, he's much better than Jackie and Jet and all those guys. Most of those guys use too much wire work and things like that.
You know what's refreshing about Tony Jaa is he's gone back old school, where you just leave the camera pretty
Yeah,
much.
let it stay in. Yeah,
You know, they made
that last fight in that movie, no cuts, man.
no, he just let it.
Great.
And
I love that.
well, I
That's
would
the Alfred Hitchcock, man.
yeah, rope and
Yeah.
just let it ride.
Let it ride.
John Woo did it in Hard Boiled. Well,
Yeah.
he did like sun breaks, but it was still.
Mhm.
And what really disappointed me about the genre overall was, Jackie started the real cranking up of the speed and the camera cuts. And,
Mhm.
20 years ago they were cutting edge, and then you have when it reaches the point where, Keanu Reeves can do kung fu.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't get Christopher Reeve
Out of the wheelchair.
With,
Yeah.
they could probably do with the technology, and you kind of lose respect for the whole situation where anybody could be a kung fu master.
Yeah, sure.
It really became like giving black belts out to 6-year-olds.
Yes.
And so Tony has kind of brought it back to your era,
Yes.
where you let the camera and you see the ability of the martial artist.
And you see more martial arts now versus tricks.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
They call it wire fu.
Yeah.
That's a phrase, because so it's almost like if they created a phrase, kind of like we've reluctantly accepted what we're watching.
Yes.
We're
Sure.
not classifying it. In Chinese, I forget what they call it, but in Hong Kong they call it hero fighting.
Exactly.
He knows hero fighting.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
phrase,
yeah.
Where it separates. So it's its own little thing, and I got sick of it, to be honest. So to see Tony Jaa,
I stopped looking at the Jackie Chan movies because they all look the same.
yeah, I completely.
They pick,
And I
and
hope-
I respect him as an artist and everything, but his movies became so corny.
Yeah,
oh
I
my
can't,
gosh!
I got
Come
tired. I
on.
got tired of watching this stuff, and it's great.
And
to
Jet
see.
Li is boring to watch. Boring.
The one criticism I have.
After Hero, it was way too much for me.
The one thing about Jet is they try to make him into something he's not. He does the wushu beautifully.
Yeah.
But they try to give him more like Bruce Lee moves.
Mhm,
And he
mhm,
doesn't have the body mechanics.
And plus, he's got the wrong kind of body for that. He doesn't look good doing it.
His form is off when he's doing outside the wushu
Yeah,
thing.
of course it
It's
is.
disappointing because he's got brilliant moves.
Oh
within-
yeah. Within
His
their
foundation.
syllabus. Yeah, sure.
And so that kind of also kind of brought down the genre, little by little. But you were back in Thailand, 30 years ago.
When they didn't use that
You know,
stuff.
it was just, crude in a way. What was this your first trip to Thailand, by the way?
No,
When you had gone there before?
I had went to Thailand in 1964
Was this Vietnam?
from Vietnam.
So you would go like R&R or something.
R&R.
there. So
Booty calls,
now it's different going there as a movie star making a movie or something. You didn't have you had more leisure or something, didn't you?
Yes.
How was the Thai nightlife?
Excellent. I would go to Lumpini Stadium and things like that and watch the kickboxing.
Oh.
I mean, I would that was my love. When I was in Thailand, I said, "What am I doing here? I got to go watch this stuff and train."
Did you go to the camps?
Oh, many of them.
You
Sure.
know, and did you get a chance to spar there?
hmm
I mean, what did you think?
Took some bruises in my legs. I could hardly walk the next day.
And
I hired a few guys from the schools
to be in the film.
in the film. Yeah,
You're like,
a lot of
this
these
guy you're
guys.
taking down now looks.
That guy and the guy, Paraka, the guy before him were my students from there.
Would you say that the Thais were the toughest trained you'd seen?
Yes.
You train with Japanese,
Yes.
Chinese, Americans.
Koreans, Filipinos.
Would you say the Thais
Were the toughest trained, yes.
I
They
mean-
trained the hardest.
And did you incorporate anything from Muay Thai into Chinese
Oh,
Goju?
of course.
Like what? Give me
Of course.
for instance.
A lot of the leg kicks, the knee for sure, a lot of the elbow stuff.
Now you had leg kicks and knees before, but did you find the Thais to be more efficient? That they're
Not more efficient, they
Or
were
the
more
strategy.
specialized.
is it the setup?
The setups, it's all set up.
I mean, if you think about the Thai roundhouse, for example,
Mhm.
you could see it coming a mile away.
A mile away.
But
if I kick in your leg first, you're not going to care where that kick is coming
but they
from.
set it up to where they tag you with it, and bones break.
For sure.
So that it really is the tactics. And so
Oh,
did you
yeah.
incorporate that
Of course.
into?
Of course.
What year would you say you started doing that?
73?
That early?
Mhm.
So you had already been aware of the.
Oh, yeah.
Had you?
I fought in Lumpini Stadium. I got knocked out in there.
When was that?
1973.
Oh, so you went to compete there?
Yeah.
This was before,
Before Black Dragon.
before Black
Before
Dragon.
Black
You went and got
Dragon.
knocked out.
I got knocked out. I got knocked out with a knee in the face. A guy grabbed the back of my neck and.
Oh, he did the clinch and just took you. You weren't used to that type of combat.
No.
I mean, it's its own rhythm, literally. I mean, they even have music.
He kicked my leg so hard that for a second I was paralyzed, and that's when he grabbed my neck and boom.
That's part of the strategy.
That's the strategy.
I talked to Ben Urquidez, who went and fought.
That was my first time knocked out.
Really?
And I was out, too.
I mean, Ben Urquidez told me when he first went to fight there, his first leg kick that he got on the inside, they love kicking the inside.
Oh, yeah.
He said literally all he could see was white before his, like white flash of pain.
Sure.
And he said he never in his life had he ever experienced that type of pain before.
Oh, yeah.
And that kind of throws you off your game, doesn't it?
I had a lot of fractures of my shin bones on both legs from the Hong Kong Free Fighting Club, where most of those guys use the Thai techniques for the leg attacks.
How would the Hong Kong free fighting guys compare to the actual Thais?
Equal.
They were equal, really? So you put them on par?
And I think they were in better shape.
Who? The Chinese or
The Chinese.
Really? Why is that?
Because Kung Fu Tak, who brought that Thai fighting to Hong Kong, was an excellent athlete. The guy would run a marathon and then go fight.
Isn't that a great name? Kung Fu Tak. I mean, people think that's a made-up name.
He and his brother
right?
opened that school.
People
the
think
Hong
that's
Kong
a made-up
Free Fighting
name,
Club.
but it's not.
It's not. That's his real name.
It's not Kung Fu like the art. It just sounds like the same, but it's a great name.
He and his brother were two of the toughest guys that I met in Hong Kong. Leon Ting introduced me to them. He says, "You want to do some?"
Right. Go here. And
2 blocks down.
And they respect Ting.
Yes, very much.
Which says something about Ting himself.
Yeah.
You know, and so forth.
Because they talked very badly about most of the Chinese martial arts.
But not Ting. Right?
Not him.
What is actually a weak point you found in Muay Thai?
Rigidity in movement.
I mean, how do you defeat the Thai fighter?
By being more active close in.
Do you give him more angles?
Yeah. You have to give him more angles.
Of the ranges that you saw, you've got your kicking range, your punching range, and so
And your grabbing range.
Which range would you say they're weakest in?
The close range.
So grabbing.
Grabbing.
I mean, they've got those elbows, which you didn't think much of them.
No.
What was the most devastating?
Their most devastating thing were the leg attacks.
I mean, there's no
Thai
coming home
guys.
from those, is it?
You know, you get kicked in the leg 3 or 4 times. You're not kicking with that leg, and you're not getting away.
You know, Joe Louis worked in the last few years. You know, he's famous for the sidekick. He trained the Muay Thai round, and the same dedication that he put into.
Good.
He put into, and I tell you, man, this was about 10 years ago. He was very quiet about it. You know, learning the Muay Thai. God damn, when I took him to the gym with me, and he started hitting the bag. He took off his shoes. He was barefoot.
Yeah. Pow.
The pillars that were holding the bag were shaking. I mean, people were coming downstairs to see
Say what happened.
Is there an earthquake? And he's just kicking that bag. And you know, picture perfect form. And I realized that if he tagged someone with that in the femur,
It's going to break their leg.
the bone would shatter.
Guaranteed.
So these guys are dealing with basically a fight, a technique that would basically end the fight in one shot, wouldn't it? You know, why are you smiling with this scene?
Better in the Bahamas, my T-shirt.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. What's free promotion there for?
Actually, I was sort of like living part-time in the Bahamas. I had 2 schools down there.
When did that start? What year?
That started in 75, 74.
This is when those famous commercials were on, where they'd say that it's better in the Bahamas. That was the whole marketing strategy. So you're bringing some of it home. You know, there it is, free advertising, so to speak. Was this your first fight scene with Carter Wong?
In this movie, yes.
Yeah. You know, so I mean, you guys had sparred before.
Yeah.
You know, you knew each other.
We sparred, really sparred, not
not this.
cracked my teeth.
I mean, so
He's a tough dude, man. He's a tough dude. We exchanged some.
Real.
Imagine he hit me in the face, I hit him in the face, and we both went.
Huh?
you know, and you get a headache like the next day, and you say, "Oh shit, that was." You ever look at Carter's hands?
Yeah.
He used to have this hammer, and he used to just bang his knuckles all the time. I used to see that they were like purple and bloody, and he'd still be banging them. And I'd say, "This guy is
I think nuts.
beyond." Yeah.
He's dedicated. You know.
Oh.
What he liked and
He
smart.
killed a few stunt guys on this film.
I mean, he was hardcore.
Oh no, he's still hardcore.
Is he? I haven't seen him in 10 years.
He's still hardcore. I saw him 2 years ago.
The last time I saw him, we interviewed.
He looks a little heavier, but he's tough.
I think he's always going to be tough.
No, he's always going to be tough.
I mean, he's a tough.
When I met him, he was teaching the police in Hong Kong, and we used to go hang out and do things.
I mean, you guys, yeah, maybe the minors shouldn't hear what you guys. And did
Good
you guys,
man, though. Good man.
Did you guys
Good
travel to Thailand together?
Yes.
And so for the duration of the movies, you guys were. I mean, you were essentially the two leads in the film. Was this film made? Because I saw it in Chinatown at the Canal Street. It was the Pagoda Theater.
Oh yeah, I remember.
It was a Chinese version, and you were dubbed in Chinese. So I'm assuming that this film got play in Asia when something like Death of Bruce Lee would not be a big film over there.
It got showed, but it wasn't a big film because they would rather have Jason be the.
Yeah, they would switch where, in this case, maybe Carter would be prominent on the poster, you'd be a small thing, and so on. So I'm assuming that you came late into the movie. You're like half hour at least.
Yeah, it was a half hour.
Into this film, and
And that's not on purpose. The screenplay, some pages were lost. Something happened with the computer or something, and they lost the first like 50 pages.
So what they
and they had to redo it.
Oh my God, that's amazing, isn't it?
Can you imagine?
Only
like 50 pages, and that's why Seraphim didn't really get involved with this.
Actually, what's amazing me is they would have a 50-page script in Hong Kong.
and they redid. I don't even know what the first part of the film was because it wasn't what I was told. They just.
Well, it has like a slave trade thing, and Carter's woman is taken or something, but it really had nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And so the titles of, The Way of the Black Dragon, you're expecting another full Black Dragon film. You don't come in till much later.
I was supposed to be in early. I was like a narcotics officer, and I was busting some people on the warehouse on the pier, and they cut all of that out. I don't know what happened.
That's all gone.
Yeah, that was all.
Wait, was it filmed?
Yes.
And they didn't use it.
And they didn't use it.
Well, that's a shame.
There's a lot of footage from this film that they didn't use. I don't know why.
Oh, so they could have had a fuller movie with you.
They could have had another 15 minutes and 2 fight scenes.
All right. What?
Because the fight scene, the one on the dock was very nice. I put like about 9 guys. It was like cool.
What did you find had the most depth in terms of culturally and system-wise? Chinese, Japanese, Thai, Korean. What struck you as having the most depth?
Chinese.
Is it just the tradition that's been maintained?
The tradition, yes, that's been maintained.
I mean, I've asked other martial artists, and they all come back to saying the Chinese also.
Chinese, yeah.
It's got so much to it.
And this is a Chinese movie, even though it was shot in Thailand. It's
still
conceptually and cinematically, it's a Chinese movie.
And did Thailand have an effect on the choreography of this film?
Yes. At that time, you can see that the Thai stunt guys aren't really that loose,
Is there anything the action director didn't want you to do, or did you have any problems?
He did not let me be as loose as I was in The Black Dragon's Revenge. He had 2 Thai guys there that were supposed to be designing the action, and there were a lot of problems on the set.
And there's nothing you could
This
really
film
do about it.
started about 3 or 4 weeks late. Carter was late.
Seraphim wasn't.
Seraphim wasn't there. Charlie didn't want to make the movie, and he eventually came from Hong Kong to make the movie because they brought in William Louis to take his place. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
did Bill actually fly in?
Yes, he was in Hong Kong with me for a while until
Came. So he was like on standby.
yeah, he was
deck
he was in Hong Kong with me for about 2 weeks, waiting.
Was that his first trip?
That was his first movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, Bill Louis is Chinese.
Yeah.
And did he speak Chinese?
No.
So he's like a real American.
A real guaylo.
He's like a Chinese guaylo.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Now that's an interesting backstory.
Yeah.
Bill Louis, because Bill Louis is a terrific martial artist.
And Bill Louis left the set because his wife didn't want him to stay any longer without a commitment. And Yo Ben Yi died when we were making this.
So this film
This had
problems.
lots of problems. And I think it was like 58 days we spent in Thailand.
That long? And was there a lot of downtime?
Yes.
It sounds like it's
Carter was making 2 other movies. Charlie got there late. There was and then Yo Ben Yi got sick. And then he died when halfway in this movie. They didn't even know whether they were going to be able to finish it.
So where were you at that point?
I was in Thailand.
You were just in limbo.
We were still shooting.
So
And then when he died, the money wasn't coming in, so they stopped shooting, and we just hung out in Thailand for about a month.
Figuring that it's going to happen.
To finish it, yeah.
Right?
And then eventually, I think Seraphim got involved with somebody, and they got money, and they finished it.
He raised the money.
Yeah.
So Seraphim came through at the end.
Yeah.
What did Yo Ben Yi die of?
He had kidney disease, kidney failure.
And he wasn't that old, actually.
No, Yo Ben Yi was about 50 when he died. Yeah.
It's a shame.
Yeah, he had kidney failure.
And what kind of budget did this film have, actually? What would you reckon?
This was probably $200,000.
Which in today's money is like $1 million budget type.
They made Black Dragon for $150. Do you know that?
I didn't realize.
$150.
This film probably would have been made for less if it wasn't for all the delays and dramas.
Yes.
Yeah. So this was over. I mean, when we say 200,000, it's like a pittance compared to what we made. But when you're on a low-budget film, it's all the money in the world.
Believe it. Believe it. They ran out of money on Kung Fu Fever too.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
We'll discuss that during the audio for that, because that film looks like a real trip. I mean, that's one for the books.
That you could do a whole video just on the backstory on that one.
And we'll definitely get into that another time. What did you think of the voice they used to dub you in this film?
I didn't find out about that until I came back to the States.
Right.
Because I came back to make another film.
Oh, what were you doing then?
What did we do? We did 77. What did we do? I was doing some television stuff.
Right.
And I came back to work. I came back to real work.
The real world.
The real world.
Thailand.
Thailand was nice. I mean, I had a lot of fun on the set. It was nice working with Carter. He was one of my idols. I always wanted to work with him. I had met him years before. He had introduced me to Bruce and a bunch of people. I mean, Carter was like my brother. He was like my younger brother. We were like tight.
He's very sharing, very giving.
Very sharing. Yeah. When he was teaching the police, he would bring me up to police headquarters in Hong Kong and let me watch the classes and work out with the guys and everything. I mean, he was just a real. I mean, most guys don't. You know how the Chinese are. Most of them don't want to share their contacts or network.
Very close to the West.
Yeah. But he was just, come on, man. And we became tight. Like Jason Pacquiao, we became tight.
And Carter spoke English.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not great English, but it improved. But
Carter spoke English.
Yeah, it was functional. More than functional English. And I think Carter was probably busy for like close to 10 years straight. He's probably made 1,000 films. That guy.
Yeah.
There was a period where Carter he did a lot of Taiwan gigs where they'd hire him for 3-4 days.
Yeah.
I think that was a bad move in the long term.
Sure, of course.
I'm sure it was good money for those 3-4 days.
Yeah, for 3-4 days.
But then you saturate yourself.
He became a little oversaturated.
I think so. I think so.
But brilliant choreographer, man.
Yeah,
he and I had fun because we were able to change the choreography or change whatever it was right there and not have to practice it and do it.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Was this scene here in the water, are you one of these guys who's worried about water or not?
This was kind of interesting. I'm in this boat that goes over this thing,
How did that feel?
very hard.
Yeah.
Very hard. You know, no cushion to anything in the
You're
boats.
not one of these guys that gets nervous in water. Now that's a
No.
real shot. These guys look like
Yeah.
they're panicking almost.
You know, well, they sort of were
You know, I mean, getting dumped in there.
filthy water.
Yeah, I mean, you
Really.
could die drinking
Yeah,
that.
you could die just being in it.
Yeah,
you
so
know?
it's no joke. Now,
I
where
had an accident on this shoot, on a motorcycle.
what kind of injuries happened here in this movie?
Oh, Carter knocked out 2 stunt guys.
Right.
He kicked one guy in the face, and he hit one guy with a palm in the face, and the guy was bleeding so much that he couldn't continue.
Where was this scene filmed?
This is in Thailand. This is in
like what part?
near Pattaya.
Ah, okay. Yes. And
In the country. Oh my God,
yeah, well,
they got snakes. They got everything up there.
I mean, it's
Everything up
it's,
there.
It's Animal Kingdom.
And this is away from any place that's, you know,
Yes, it's far from.
you drive
community.
4 hours and you see nothing but that.
Yeah,
you know?
trees and
Yeah.
you know. And what I find funny about this scene is, you know, they got guys like coming out of trees,
yeah.
which is kind of corny. Or coming out of the ground. It's like, were they sitting up there for hours waiting for you?
Yep.
It's like it breaks the reality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it gets kind of silly. I understand what they're doing, but it's kind of silly.
Carter kicked this guy right in the face.
Really?
Yeah. That was one of the guys that couldn't continue.
Uh,
They changed. They gave at least, he had maybe 10 stunt guys.
uh-huh.
5 of them he hurt.
Why? It's
That's
just
just he just wanted to have that, you know, that look, you know.
now this is what I find weird. You guys are having a great action scene.
This is Charlie in there getting his massage.
Yeah, he's getting his freak on here, right? You know, like this is now Charlie enters the movie. He's only in it like the last 15 minutes of the film. You know, so my question is.
But he was in Thailand with me for a month.
I'm sure
over a month.
getting massaged
This is what he was doing every day.
every day. You know, look at him. He looks like the Cheshire Cat.
Yeah.
And here's Charlie.
He got paid for this.
Now what's Charlie's role in this film exactly?
Charlie was one of the killers for the bad guys.
So see, here's where there's a plot disturbance.
I fell off this jet ski in this scene.
Did you?
Yeah, into the water. Carter was so wild that day that he crashed his jet ski into me, and my jet ski turned over and I went in the water.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
He wanted to be in front of me.
He wanted to.
Can you
and
imagine?
He is, and there he is.
See, I was in front of him to start, and he
he-
had to get in front of me.
I love
and
the
then
ambition.
Carter, you are so funny, man. And he hit the jet ski, and mine turned over.
He did it.
Imagine hair wet, everything.
They still kept
This is the
filming.
ocean. This is not the beach.
He kept
Rough
filming.
water and everything, man.
How long did you have to film this?
Oh, this was hours. This was.
So this isn't fun in the sun.
hours. This was not fun in the sun that day.
You know, I mean, it looks kind of cool with your jet skis, but
Not
it's
that
not, is
day.
it?
Carter crashed right into me, and I said, Carter, you know, he says, no, I want to be the first one on. I said,
Okay.
let me give you some room. And I gave him room, and he still hit me.
Amazing. I mean, he doesn't look like the ambitious type, does he?
Carter was funny that day. Gosh. You see where I slowed down and went back to the left. I said,
Wait a minute here. There's a continuity problem. You've had like a costume change. Where's your Barbados shirt?
I fell in the water.
Right, so you change, you change costumes. And it doesn't really matter, does it?
No.
Now, you guys are chasing the bad guys, obviously, here. There's going to be some.
And then we threw these guys into the water, which they hated it. Oh my gosh.
I mean, you could catch malaria or something.
That water is so filthy.
I mean, you could really catch some hepatitis or something. You know, it's life and limb. So.
Carter hit the side of the boat too. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, whose
He
idea
was so wild.
Whose idea was to do it here?
The director.
It's visually.
But I was supposed to be the first one coming in, and Carter was supposed to be the second because he's supposed to be on the other side of the boat.
Now, who's this cat here?
Some Thai kickboxer, some soap opera guy from
Was he
Thailand.
supposed to be like the
3 the hard way.
the triangle where they get the
Yeah.
Thai sale or something?
Exactly.
Is this for marketing
He was a
reasons?
soap opera guy from Thailand.
So we're going to see him strut his stuff in a second.
Yeah, but he was terrible. His martial arts was really terrible.
I'm
I mean,
sure.
he was a soap opera.
Yeah, he's an
guy.
actor
Yeah,
or
he's an
something.
actor.
And yeah, you notice that he's not getting a whole lot of play. You know, Carter's the one. Now
Carter smacked that guy so hard in the face.
that guy went off the top of the boat. I
Yeah.
mean, the shot doesn't really let you appreciate what that guy just did.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
pretty impressive actually.
Very impressive.
Now you see, they're not giving this guy a whole lot of play.
No, they let me just kick the rest of these guys' butts.
A smart move.
One guy got hurt. He hit the side of the boat with his leg. It was
How long would you say you guys were in the water here?
Oh, this was almost half the day.
Hey.
Playing around with that, and they had to have a safety guy come and pick up two guys that went in the water because one guy couldn't even swim because when he fell over, he hit the side of the boat with his leg and he couldn't do anything. He almost drowned.
Was it very hot? It was one of those Thai broiling days. Terrible, isn't it?
Ooh, you could hardly breathe.
Oh,
and I went and I did my water thing that day too because Carter knocked me in the water.
Oh, you fell in the water? You mean?
As we were going with the jet skis, right. Carter ran into the side of me to be the first one to get on the boat.
Now look, you've got a costume change here. Well, you've got.
Oh, you can't see. My hair was redone and everything. I mean, I went in the water, and my pants are still wet. I don't know if you look closely, you see really? That my pants are still wet.
Oh, is this your Chinese goju top?
Well, they took my T-shirt off because it got wet.
Well, where's your patch? Is your patch?
Yeah, it's on there.
It's on there. This is from carryover from Death of Bruce Lee days.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's like your good luck shirt. You know, now where's this beach?
This is in Thailand.
No, I mean, what part of
this is in Pattaya.
Pattaya area. So you guys spent some time.
We shot in Chiang Mai and Pattaya. That's where we shot this.
Ah, okay. Chiang Mai is very famous for shooting.
Yeah.
They shoot a lot of movies.
Yeah,
there.
we did a lot of shooting there.
I mean, a lot of films get done there. And oh, there's your Chinese goju patch. I think in one of the films, I don't know if it's this one or Death of Bruce Lee, there's a guy actually wearing a Chinese goju patch or shirt. One of the stunt guys also. You gotta really look for it. You know, there's a guy getting decked by, and he's got a Chinese goju patch. Now, how long did this take to film?
This was like 2 days to do this last fight scene.
So, normally it sounds like, you know, a couple of days and you get yourselves like 5-10 usable minutes.
Oh yeah.
Footage. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, and to give a barometer to the listeners, a Hollywood film
gets 2 minutes a day.
You know, maybe even one setup, and then everyone goes home after 8 hours. So you guys were cranking out, you know, serious. How many camera setups would you say they were hitting a day?
5.
Really?
10. They, you know the Chinese, man. Boom, 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 boom. As soon as you finish shooting, they're setting up.
It's next.
Yeah, next.
And were you picking up camera techniques, camera work that would
actually I had really gotten into camera work on the second film, The Black Dragon's Revenge. I would go behind the camera and look at the scenes as we were shooting, and I would make corrections in my movement and my angles so that it would fit.
Based on where they were putting the camera and so forth. Smart.
Yeah, it was I actually learned a great deal on my second, third, and fourth movies about cinematography, the cinematic effect of reversing the camera to get the backward shots and all that other stuff. I learned a lot of stuff.
Did you use any of this, let's say, for like Last Dragon?
Yeah, of course.
Did that come into play?
Of course.
Which is
I used a lot of Chinese technique in The Last Dragon, or else we would have never been able to finish that film.
You know, based on like what we're watching here.
Yeah, of course.
Your learning experience.
Without a doubt, all of this was invaluable while making The Last Dragon.
Now, see, they just leave the camera on you and just let you rip.
They had faith in me by that time.
Which is, and again, this is the same crew from the first film.
Same crew.
You know, tough guy, Black Dragon.
Yeah, same crew.
Right through here, and they're finally getting used to you.
Yeah, that's what it is. They get used to you. And Carter, he didn't design any of this stuff.
Oh, really?
This stuff was just right there.
It was just happening.
Right there.
Oh, well, this guy, I think he was probably making movies in his sleep.
Carter had made a few hundred movies when I met him.
Yeah, this guy was just
and he said to me, just relax. Just
let
all of this. He gave me this whole piece here.
Just let you loose here.
Yeah.
The camera's just following you. Were they tracking with this or handheld?
It was tracking.
Wow, they actually laid down tracks. Were they using the same track over and over for this?
Yes.
You know, would they move?
They just cheated the people.
Would the guys move in front of the camera, or would they actually move the tracks?
They moved the tracks.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. High living indeed.
Yeah.
Was this
the longest scene in this whole movie was this scene with Carter with the sticks.
This one right here?
I don't know why it took so long.
It wasn't coming together.
It wasn't coming together. They did this at least 5, 6, 7 times.
Beautiful back spin kick you did.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's the one where I broke the guy's face.
Beautiful, beautiful kick.
Remember I told you I hurt this guy by accident?
Yes,
That
yeah.
was that guy.
Really nice back
But
kick.
that thing broke and hit him in the face.
Oh, really? I mean, I feel bad for the guy, but I wish the camera would have caught the full action.
I mean, it looked nice, but I hurt him. And, I didn't really want to hurt him. And Carter was really hurting these guys. The guys had black and blues all down their legs from him hitting them on their legs and stuff. He was...
The Chinese can't do this anymore. They don't have the people that can do it.
Mm-hmm.
All these movies they've made, the quote wire fu stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They can't make a Chan Sing movie again.
That was the kick.
That one, right?
That one. That's the one that hurt that guy.
What you're seeing now is a lost art.
Oh, they don't do this anymore.
They can't. I mean, you can't get stunt guys in Hong Kong that are willing to take that type of beating. For
not
example.
anymore.
You know, it's like
And these guys, oh my God, he hurt those guys so bad.
Are these guys real Thai boxers?
Yes, they are.
I mean,
They got them from the school.
Really?
Yeah, but they weren't really the
Very stiff.
They weren't the fighters. They were the like the teachers, like the monks. They were the guys. Yeah, they were like the monk guys.
I wish you had fought them.
He hit this guy's head on one of those trees. I thought he killed him.
Oh my God.
I thought he killed him, man. You'll see where he turns around with him.
Mm-hmm.
He actually hit this fucking tree with this guy's head. I thought it was going to just look like it was.
But he really slammed him. Yeah. Did the stuntmen like you because of the fact that you didn't hurt him?
They liked me till I hurt the one person.
Oh, then what? They turned on
Then
you?
they would like.
Oh, they
you
flinched.
could see they
Yeah.
were like. Oh no!
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, like the
It
guy
took you-
lost teeth and his nose was broken. I mean, that stick hit him right in the face.
So that was a real turning point. Oh, finally, Charles Bonet makes a cameo. Was this the way the script was made, that Bonet comes in at the last, literally 5 minutes of the movie?
I have no idea.
I mean, that doesn't make sense for him to fly all the way across.
That's what I said.
And, they could have gotten just anybody.
They
for
could
this
have
role.
gotten anybody. That's right.
Get that guy who didn't like you and
Yeah.
Mr. Bruce Lee, the guy
Yeah,
with the mustache.
yeah.
I mean, I find it kind of odd.
Because he had already signed a 3-contract deal with Seraphim. Seraphim had to use him.
I see.
That's what it was.
So this was kind of like, let's get rid of him.
Yeah.
Let's finish up his contract. Was this his last film for Seraphim?
No, his last one was something called Slumlord or something.
Death Promise.
Death Promise.
Death Promise. That's the one that was shot, I guess, in New York.
Yeah.
I think he's the lead in that, actually.
Yeah.
He scored a lead in the film. Yeah.
That's what Seraphim wanted me to work on it, and I said, I don't think I can work with Charlie again, man.
Now, at this point, were you and Charlie talking?
No.
So it was really tense.
Very, very tense.
So, I mean,
He didn't like dying in the last film, and he said, if it wasn't for the money, I wouldn't be working with you again. I said, hey, okay, at least I got you here, bro.
right. And so he held a grudge
To this day.
to this day.
To this day.
I mean,
You ruined my career.
well,
That's what he told me.
Well,
You ruined my career.
I've seen Charles Bonet in a bunch of Bruce Lee movies.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing like a blonde wig, getting decked by Bruce
Yeah,
Lee,
yeah.
and you ruined his career.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Listen,
Oh my
he
God,
really hit
He got
this
rammed.
guy's head on that.
that was a real hit.
No kidding. And you should have seen the gash on that guy's head.
Oh my. Now who's this guy?
Carter did not. Some guy we met in the bar. Some
Looks
Australian
great.
guy we met in the bar.
He looks terrific. His face got real character. Now these are good, actually, not bad Thai kicks for a
Yeah.
soap opera star.
Yeah.
Now this guy's a really good. You know what he looks like? There's a guy named Bart Vale.
Yeah, of course, he looks like Bob.
He looks like.
I told Sarah he'd make it a bad choice for Charlie and I to fight in this.
This scene's actually not bad.
They had so many guys there that were better and could have done a better and would have looked more,
Well, the guy comes up to your chest.
Yeah.
That's one thing, right? So there's really, he doesn't have like an air of fear about him.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
And
he
why
says-
would both of us be fighting? It was a little.
Well, they didn't establish, that this guy's some type
It's
of
supposed to be
badass,
tough, yeah. Yeah.
So we don't know that. And he's even shorter than Carter Wong.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little hard to believe. But what you're telling me about his weapons use makes sense, because I've seen him in some movies with nunchakas and
Excellent weapons.
and-
Excellent
and so forth.
weapons, yeah.
oh, very good slow-mo shot. You know, Carter really knows how to sell it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, he really knows how. Don't tell me that this guy saves the day.
hmm
They must have had Thai money investors,
Oh yeah.
you know, to bring this
yeah.
guy into the, you know,
He was a soap opera star in Thailand, so they said,
He had an
let's
audience.
use him.
that he's got an audience of some sort. Well, and why is it the police always come at the last minute? You know, is a donut shop break? What is it with these guys?
I have no
They're always
idea.
a day late and a dollar short. You know, after you guys, you
But
say,
I did have fun working with Carter.
uh-huh.
It was like really an honor to work with him because he was one of my heroes,
Mhm.
you know?
If you could take one moment, one experience from this film, what would it be?
My second fight scene with Carter.
Why?
Because the first one we were both a little apprehensive,
Mhm.
but by the second one we realized that we just wanted to make it look good. And that's why the second fight scene, the one in the bar
Mhm.
with him and I,
Right.
is much nicer than
So
the
you're
first
happy
one.
with it?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
very happy with that one. I wasn't happy with the first one, but I was very happy with the second one that we had.
Who have you kept in contact with? I know Carter.
I
and
still
so forth.
stay in touch with Carter.
Anyone else from
I
the
still
film?
stay in touch with. Last one I spoke to was. One of the production guys. He was here working on a film with. Not Seagal.
Oh, the movie just about over, Kiyoshi.
I can't think of the guy's name. I'm sorry.
Maybe for the next audio. I'm glad everyone sat by and listened. I hope you got something out of
This
it.
was a great experience working on this movie in Thailand. I got a chance to revisit Thailand because I had only seen Thailand when I was on leave from Vietnam. So I really didn't get a chance to
Sure.
get into looking at the real culture of Thailand. When I went to Thailand for R&R, it was just booty calls and getting ready to go back to Vietnam.
Well, listen,
You can't enjoy anything like that.
I want to thank you for coming, and there's more audio to come. Again, these movies, they look cheap and so forth, but anyone can learn something from them, and they're actually fun to watch. Anyway, Grandmaster Kiyoshi, I'm glad you came, and on to the next one.
Thank you so much, and it's been a real pleasure.